Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all doing well and hope everyone is having a good day so far. It is the big one. It is World Cup predictions today because it's just that time. It is just simply that time. And we had to get it done today. So we're doing it. I was going to do it later, but instead, no, we're doing it live because live is more fun, is what I say. World Cup predictions. So I was going to schedule it for 8:30 tonight, but no, 11:47. Why not? Let's do it. So we're going to be predicting every single game of the World Cup 2026 in USA, Mexico, and Canada. And of course, we're going to be predicting our top scorer and the most clean sheets and the most assists in the tournament. So if you're watching this on the watch back on from the live stream, get your World Cup predictions in the comments below. Let's jump into things. Let's do this. So we're going to start by going through each of the games, and based on how I think each of the games will go is how the table will be calculated, and then that will take into account the fixtures for me to predict in the round of 32, round of 16, quarterfinals, semis, and of course that grand final on Sunday, the 19th of July. So it is an extended World Cup, this one, for the first time. 48 teams after the usual 32. So more games to predict. Let's get cracking, shall we? The opening game kicks off this Thursday night. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff, I think, UK time, I believe. It says 7 here, but I'm pretty sure it's 8. Or even maybe it's 9. I'm not sure. But it's Mexico, one of the host nations, against South Africa, just as it was back in 2010. I mean, waka waka. Great memories that. Shabalala getting the goal for South Africa. As Peter Drury said, for Africa, for all Africa. And then proceeding to do that brilliant little celebration. Fantastic stuff. And that game finished 1-1 back in 2010. But will it be history repeating itself? I don't think so, to be honest. I think Mexico, with being the hosts and it being, the really suffocating atmosphere of the Azteca, I think Mexico are going to get off to a good start. They've got some good players, Mexico, the likes of Raul Jimenez. And when you look at Mexico's group, I mean, they're going to fancy themselves to get through with South Africa in there as very, much underdogs. You've got Czech Republic, who have had okay tournaments in the past, but never quite cut the mustard. And then South Korea or Korea Republic, who do tend to struggle in the World Cup. They did, of course, famously knock out Germany back in 2018. But generally, they're not that strong at World Cup. So Mexico will definitely feel, with also them being the host nation, they can get through this Group A. But I think they're going to have a good start to the tournament because they're going to beat South Africa by 3-1. So that's a 3-1 win to Mexico. So up next, we've got South Korea against Czech Republic. For this one, I do feel as though Czech Republic will get a point because Korea are going to go big in their first game. They know that they're up against it. They're probably the team, along with South Africa, fancied to finish low in this Group A table. But I think it'll end a high-scoring 2-2 draw for this game. South Korea 2, Czech Republic 2. Now we've got Group B, and this is an interesting one with Switzerland, Canada, Bosnia, and, of course, the hosts from the last World Cup, Qatar. Looking at this, I think both Switzerland and Canada are going to fancy their chances. But Canada facing Bosnia, they really need to get a win here. And I think they will just about scrape one. I'll go Canada 2, Bosnia 1. We've then got United States against Paraguay. I think this will be a bit more low scoring. I think this will be a cagey affair. It's a big game for Mauricio Pochettino. The USA, as the hosts, will want to impress. But Paraguay, they're their own plucky themselves with the likes of Almiron. They're going to really want to cause an upset for the hosts. And I think it's going to be really nervy. But I think USA will just sneak a 1-0 win on opening match day. So USA 1, Paraguay 0. So that's the first round of games for the host nation. And now it's Haiti against Scotland. So this is Group C. Interesting matchup, this one, because Haiti have done really well to get to this World Cup. I don't know if they'll do anything other than finish fourth, but you never know. Miracles can happen. Scotland will certainly be hoping this is a 3 points in the bag, and I believe it will be. So I'm going to go Haiti 0, Scotland 2. Next up is Australia against Turkey. Australia and Turkey in Group D will both look at this and think this is another realistic chance of points. I mean, United States will fancy their chances being the hosts, but I think Australia, after the recent World Cup disappointments, they've come to the World Cup quite recently, but they need to go further and see if they can push further. But they've got a lot of exciting talent, namely Nestori Irankunda. But Turkey are never, easy opponents. So I think on opening night, it will be Australia 2, Turkey 2. Another 2-2 Desmond. Now it's Brazil, Morocco. And Brazil are going to be one of the favourites this tournament for sure. They won it, of course, the most times of any other nation, 5. But they haven't won it for a while. And after not winning it in 2014 when they hosted it, since then there's been a lot of, heartbreaks in semi-finals and quarterfinals for Brazil. So I think Brazil will get off to a winning start. I think their squad is looking fantastic. Igor Thiago, brilliant season for Brentford. Richarlison tends to do well for Brazil. Obviously, Neymar on his last dance. It's going to be a good tournament, I think, for Brazil. And I think Morocco will be a tough test to start this. But I think Brazil are good enough to still win. So Brazil 2, Morocco 1. Now it's Qatar against Switzerland. Now, this is a game where I feel Qatar are going to struggle. I think Switzerland are going to be the favourites to finish top of Group B. And, Qatar have done well to get to this stage of another World Cup. But I don't think that this time they will be able to get many points. So Qatar 0, Switzerland 2 is what we're going for. Now, Ivory Coast, Ecuador is up next. Again, good to see Ivory Coast in there. A few of these African sides getting into this year's World Cup. But I think Ecuador will get a point here. I think Ivory Coast have got a few players that can cause issues, but Ecuador have equally as well. I don't know if Enner Valencia will still be playing for Ecuador, but he certainly did well for them in the last World Cup. So I think this will be a nervy 1-1 draw here. But it could well be a tight one for sure. And then it's Germany against Curacao. I mean, you couldn't see two more contrasted nations. The big giants, the sleeping giants, Germany, of course, haven't won since 2014, but have such a great history of this competition. And Curacao ranked in 83rd in the FIFA rankings, and it's their first World Cup. And this is a baptism of fire for Curacao and the likes of Tahith Chong. So I think Germany are going to get a comprehensive victory on first match day. Germany 3, Curacao 0. Netherlands against Japan is up next. Now, Japan in recent tournaments have been causing issues for these sides. This is the sort of game a few years ago you'd have said Netherlands, very comfortable win. But actually, Netherlands have faltered in recent tournaments. I mean, they've done well to kind of get out of groups and stuff, but beyond that, it's been a bit of a struggle. I mean, some of their players are starting to age a little bit, but they have got other players coming through. I mean, Xavi Simons obviously is a big loss for Netherlands, but you've got the likes of Cody Gakpo. There's a lot of good Netherlands options. Japan also are a dangerous side, and they'll be very gutted to not have Mitoma, who was so brilliant for Japan in the last World Cup. But I believe that actually Netherlands will fail to win this one because Japan are there's something about them. I think this is a huge game for Japan because they'll look at this Group F and think, well, this is going to be a very tight one. It could well be decided by a game or two, and they've got to go for these kind of matches and take the game to Netherlands, because Sweden will be a very difficult opponent, and then Tunisia, who knows? So I think Netherlands are going to go and draw this one. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw on the day between the two sides. Now, Sweden-Tunisia. Sweden will fancy their chances back at the World Cup after a little bit of time with the likes of Ken Sema in the side. Hopefully he'll score, ex-Watford man. But Victor Gyökeres, Isak, obviously Elanga as well. Some, exciting players for Sweden. And you'd hope that they would have a good tournament. But I think it will get off to a good start with a very comfortable 3-1 victory against Tunisia. Now it's Saudi Arabia, Uruguay. Now, Saudi Arabia pulled off the big upset in the last World Cup, beating the eventual champions Argentina, but they didn't do enough, ultimately, Saudi Arabia, to get out of their group. And I think it was going to be a really big challenge once again for them, because ultimately, when you look at things, you've got Uruguay, who are going to fancy their chances, and you've got Spain. I think it's going to be a big, big ask for Saudi Arabia, but you never know. You never know. Saudi Arabia against Uruguay is going to be interesting, because Uruguay also are starting to dwindle in their sort of squad. They haven't got Luis Suarez this tournament. A few of their players not in the best form, but they've got players like Darwin Nunez and, defensive good options. I think Uruguay will get an opening win for this one, though. I'll go for Saudi Arabia 1, Uruguay 2. Now it's Spain against Cape Verde, or Cabo Verde, however you want to pronounce it. And amazing for Cape Verde to get into this World Cup. Incredible achievement. But I don't think they're going to get anything against Spain, who are one of the favourites, understandably, the European champions, after beating England 2-1 back in 2024 in the final match for Gareth Southgate. I think Spain are going to win this, but not massively, just comfortably. 3-0 to Spain. It won't be a hammering, but they'll get the job done. Then it's Iran against New Zealand. Now, this will be an interesting one. Obviously, Iran, in this current state of the world, not in a good way, in a war with USA. So how will that affect the Iran players? New Zealand back at the World Cup for the first time in ages, since 2010. And New Zealand, they are the lowest ranked side at this year's World Cup, in 85th. So I worry for them, because it will be hard for them to get out of the group. But they've got Chris Wood. They've got a couple of good championship players. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. But Iran, I think, are going to get a draw here, because I just feel like they have to go for it in this group when, they're faced with, the teams like, Egypt, Belgium. You got superstars everywhere you look in those two teams, but these are the two sort of teams that will be fighting out to not finish bottom, probably. So Iran are going to go for it, and I think they're going to get a point. I'm going to go for Iran 1, New Zealand 1. Now, Belgium-Egypt is up next, and I think this is going to be a fantastic match, because it's Mohamed Salah up against Kevin De Bruyne. And Romelu Lukaku's not been in the best of form, but Belgium have got so many other good attackers that they can get goals through. So I think it'll be a win for Belgium, but I'm going to say one of the best group games of the tournament in the group stage. Belgium 3, Egypt 2. Now it's France-Senegal, and this is a game where I think Senegal will come into this thinking, this is pretty tricky. Facing the finalists of the last World Cup. They won the World Cup back in 2018. They are a threat. They are a big force to be reckoned with, are Les Bleus. And I think, the way France are going, they are going to be very, very likely in that Final Four, because they've just been fantastic for so long. Such a great squad that they've assembled, and they just got depth everywhere you look. And they're going to be massive favourites to finish top of this group. But Senegal, do not count them out, because they have definitely got a lot of dark horses in their side. Njai, Ismail Assar, so many more. So France will struggle, but they will get the 3 points. I'm going to go for France 2, Senegal 1. Now, it's Iraq against Norway. Norway back in the World Cup for the first time in a while. So Erling Haaland and Martin Odegaard on the biggest stage. Now Iraq, I think, will really struggle in this group. I mean, when you look at it, it's crazy, really. I think Group I is going to be a very much a group of death between the teams outside of Iraq. So I think Norway will fill their boots here. And so I'm going to go for Iraq nil, Norway 3. So 3 for the Scandinavians. And now it's Argentina against Algeria. Now, Argentina, the current holders of this World Cup. Can they do back to back? Well, it will be interesting because Messi playing his 6th World Cup. Can he get his side off to a winning start? Algeria are definitely one to watch. They've got a lot of players, again, a bit like I was saying with Uruguay, who they've sort of grown out of their, sort of key years of players and quality, but they've still got a lot of players that could, try and cause a nuisance. But I think Argentina is still going to be far too strong. I'm going to go for Argentina 3, Algeria nil. Now it's Austria versus Jordan, and well done to Jordan for making it to the World Cup this year. Incredible scenes, but I think they are going to finish bottom of their group, unfortunately, because there's just too much competition. I mean, Algeria will probably be in a tussle with Austria for second, but I would imagine Jordan will finish without any wins. I mean, that's a big claim, but it's just so hard to see any 3 points coming out of this tournament. But I think Austria will win this one. I'm going to go for Austria 2, Jordan 1. They are going to get a first World Cup goal, which will be a historic moment for Jordan. Now it's Ghana against Panama. Now, in this one, I think that is going to be a game where there's going to be goals. Now, I think Panama have got issues defensively. I think they are going to struggle in this group. But Ghana, attackingly, have just got lots of great options. The likes of Antoine Semenyo. Mohamed Kudus is obviously a huge blow that he is not available. But they've got exciting players across that front line. So they're going to be confident of doing well. So I think it's going to be Ghana 2, Panama nil. Nothing crazy, but got the job done for Ghana. Now, first game for the Free Lions, trying to recreate 60 years ago that win against West Germany in the final. Can England finally make it come home? I don't know, but they have to try and beat Croatia, who cruelly knocked them out in the semi-finals back in 2018. And they beat them in the Euros. Now they've got to beat them on opening day in the World Cup in the USA, Mexico, and Canada. And Croatia are a fantastic World Cup team. I mean, their recent finishes, I mean, you got second, third. They're just a joke of a World Cup side. And I just don't know. I think this is going to be really tricky. And Tuchel's got that other game that he's got to, have England play against Costa Rica to see which cogs work. But against New Zealand, it was a little bit stale. But, it's the heat. You've got to adjust to all these factors. And you've got to adjust to the new players that have come into the camp, the likes of Morgan Rogers, Dan Burn, players in the back line like Jed Spence, who actually did quite look good against New Zealand. But there's a lot of adjustments to make, and you've got to find ways to work things out. So I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see whether or not he is going to do well in this World Cup. But bear with a second as I just sort something out. Sorry about that, people. Apologies for the delay. Good to see Colm Boogler on the live chat. My prediction is that he expects Joao Pedro to get a mention at some point, even though he's not at the World Cup. Well, you were the one that mentioned him, but yes, your prediction has been proved correct. I have mentioned him. Absolute joke that he's not been picked for Brazil. Don't know how they're going to expect to win a World Cup without him. But anyway, it was a very impressive. What was I talking about? England. Yes. So the Croatia game is going to be very tough. It's going to be very tight. And I think England, do I think they're going to win that game against Croatia? Oh, I don't know. I think it's going to be a draw. I think it's a tough first match for Thomas Tuchel. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 cagey game, which is not the ideal way to start, but I think it's what's going to happen. Now, Portugal against DR Congo is next. And it's good to see DR Congo back in the World Cup. The likes of Edo Kayembe, Johan Wissa. Portugal, though, they've got a very, very good squad, and they are one of the favourites this year. And you can understand why with that midfield of Vitinha, João Neves, Bruno Fernandes, a back line of Nuno Mendes, Ruben Diaz, Gonçalo Inácio, João Cancelo, Mateus Nunes, Diogo Costa in goal. So there's so many great options. The thing that will be interesting to see is how much does Cristiano Ronaldo play in his 6th World Cup at the age of 41. He's no spring chicken, but he's still incredible for his age. So it will be a balancing act playing him or Gonçalo Ramos, or potentially, shifting things around. You've got players like Gonçalo Guedes. You've got players like Rafael Leao, who got sent off the other night, which was a little bit silly. But, so many of these players have got great talents, but how do you balance them all? How do you keep them all happy? And that will be the key job for Roberto Martinez. And at the last tournament in the Euros, Portugal didn't quite find their way to get into that semi-final. But can they go even to that stage or even further to the final on the 19th of July? We will see. But I think it will start with a win against DR Congo. So I'll go for Portugal 3, DR Congo 1. Now it's Uzbekistan, Colombia. And for this one, I'm going for a Colombia win, I think. Uzbekistan, fair play to them for getting this far, but I just don't expect them to get anything out of this one. So also Uzbekistan 1, Colombia 3 is what we're going to predict. Next up, we have got Czech Republic against South Africa. South Africa, we mentioned earlier, fair play to them getting this far to the tournament, but I think this is going to be a Czech Republic victory. I'm going to go 2-1 Czech Republic. We've now got Switzerland taking on Bosnia and Herzegovina. And again, I expect Bosnia to put up a fight, but Switzerland probably still will top the group. So I think I'm going to go for, what did I say for the first Bosnia game? A narrow defeat. I'm going to go for a draw, actually. I think Bosnia will just about scrape one here. 1-1 against Switzerland. Now we've got Canada against Qatar. Now another realistic opportunity for Canada to get a win, but Qatar will try and make it very, very difficult, will frustrate their opposition. So I wonder, will Canada find a way to get the job done? I'm going to go for Canada 1, Qatar 1. I think it's going to be another stalemate. Mexico against Korea Republic. Now this is going to be an interesting game for the hosts. Korea Republic will definitely look at this as the toughest of their games in Group A. So I'm going to go for a Mexico win. I'll go Mexico 2, Korea 0. Now we've got Brazil against Haiti. Now this is a toughie. This is a toughie because in the last time they played, it was in the I think it was in the CONCACAF tournament or something like that, and it ended 7-1 to Brazil. Now, will it end 7-1 again? It's not out of the realms of possibility, but no, I'm going to go for a 4-0 Brazil. I think that feels about right. Now it's Scotland and Morocco. Scotland, they are going to really hope to get points out of these kind of matches because Brazil, they can just accept they're probably not going to get anything there. Haiti, they have to win. Morocco is the one where you can kind of, if you can get something extra out of this one, then it's a big, big bonus. but Morocco are just such a good side. So I think Morocco will get the 3 points. Scotland 1, Morocco 3. So then it's United States against Australia. Two sides that haven't been in the World Cup that often over the years, but two very interesting teams. I think they've both got a lot of young attacking talent. I think this will be a high scoring game. I'm going to go for USA 2, Australia 3. Yeah, the US will just be pipped at the last. Now it's Turkey against Paraguay. I think this is going to be a Turkey win, to be honest. I mean, both of these sides don't fill me with massive confidence. This just looks like a cagey 1-0 either way. And so I'm going to go for Turkey in the end. Then it's Germany, Ivory Coast. Again, I'd fancy Germany to get a win here, but Ivory Coast can cause issues. I'm going to go for Germany 2, Ivory Coast 1. Now it's Ecuador versus Curacao. Ecuador surely have to win this, but you never know with Curacao. Could they just be that ace in the pocket, that jack in the pack of cards that find a way to upset teams? I don't think they will, though. So I'm going to go for another KG 1-0, though, to Ecuador. And now it's Netherlands v Sweden. This feels like a tight game also. I'm going to go to 2-2 here. I think both these sides have got a lot of good players. Going to be an exciting game. Tunisia, Japan. This feels a bit dicey, a bit nervy. I think Tunisia know that they probably need to get something from this game to have any chance. I don't think they will, though. I think it's going to be Tunisia 1, Japan 2. Now Uruguay versus Cape Verde. I think Uruguay are going to definitely win this. Again, apologies to Cape Verde, but you just look at the two sides, and Uruguay, they haven't been sparkling, but they certainly have got the more experience than Cape Verde. So I'll go Uruguay 2, Cape Verde 0. Then it's Spain, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia are going to struggle. I think Spain, this is the sort of match that they could score 4 or 5 in, to be honest. So I'll go Spain 4, Saudi Arabia 0. Then we've got Belgium, Iran. Again, another game you'd expect Belgium to do well in. So I'll say Belgium 3, Iran 1. Then it's New Zealand, Egypt. Oh, this will be a toughie. Chris Wood against Mo Salah. I think Egypt will just slightly fancy their chances in this one because of how little New Zealand have had at the World Cup recently. But I think this is, the sort of game that could swing either way. I'm just going to edge towards Egypt, though. New Zealand 1, Egypt 2. It's going to be tight. Norway, Senegal. Now, this is an exciting game. The attacking talent on both sides is going to be a big matchup and an exciting game to watch. I think, though, I'm going to just edge towards Norway. I think that firepower of Haaland and Odegaard and all these, talents will just about get them over the line in another exciting match in group stage action. 4-3 to Norway. Watch that one and circle it in your calendar. France, Iraq. I think France will win this one very comfortably. I'm going to go 4-0 to France for that one. Then it's Argentina, Austria. Again, you'd expect on paper Argentina win, but this is the World Cup. It's not always played on paper. So I'll say, it's never played on paper. I'll say Argentina slip up in this game. After winning their first, they're going to slip up in their second. 2-2 against a very good Austria side. Now, Jordan up next against Algeria. This feels a little bit, again, like a 1 goal in it sort of game because the quality from both sides, you struggle to see where the goals are going to come from. But I'll side with Algeria. I think, actually, changing my mind, I'm going to go for 2 from Algeria. So they're just about squeezed through in this game. Then up next is England, Ghana. Now, of course, England haven't played Ghana much in the past. When they did previously, it was a 1-1 draw, Andy Carroll strike and a late equaliser from Ghana. England were poor that day. Can they be better on this one on the 23rd of June? I think they can. I'm going to go for a 3-1 England victory. Now, Panama facing Croatia next. Again, you'd fancy Croatia in this one, but Panama are going to go into it with all their might. I'm going to go Panama 1, Croatia 2. No, we'll say 3. Just add that extra difference. Portugal, Uzbekistan. Again, you would imagine it's going to be a very comfortable win for Portugal. Portugal 3, Uzbekistan 0, Colombia DR Congo. That's a fascinating one because Congo, a few good players themselves, and then Colombia, you got Luis Diaz, you got some really sort of exciting players there as well. I am just slightly favouring Colombia, but I think it will be a tight one. 2-1 Colombia on the day. Then Scotland, Brazil. Oh, this is a throwback game from previous World Cups. I think Brazil are going to win, but I think Scotland will get a couple of goals. I think it'll be a great game. 4-2 to Brazil. Morocco, Haiti is up next. I'm going to go for a Morocco 2-0 victory. I don't think they'll go mad, Morocco, but they'll get the job done. Then it's Switzerland, Canada. This feels tight. This feels like a really exciting game. Canada, if they want a chance of getting through, is second place, because Morocco in the other group have been, one of the stronger teams in World Cup recent history. But when you look at Switzerland's group, I mean, Bosnia are going to be the side that are going to be battling with Canada for the second, you would imagine. So if Canada can get something from this, then it'll be absolutely huge. But I don't think they will. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory for Switzerland. And now it's Bosnia against Qatar. This feels like a 3-1 win to Bosnia. Then Czech Republic, Mexico. I think this is going to be a 2-1 to the host nation. 2-1 to Mexico against Czech Republic. South Africa against South Korea or Korea Republic. I'm going to go for a boring 1-0 win to South Africa. Come on, South Africa. They got to get one win at this year's World Cup, surely. Now it's Curacao against Ivory Coast. This feels interesting because, again, on paper, not the worst fixture for Ivory Coast, but you never know with Curacao. Maybe they'll throw in a curveball or two. Now, I think Ivory Coast will just be too strong. I'll go Curacao 0, Ivory Coast 2. Then it's Ecuador, Germany. I think this will be a 2-1 win to Germany. I think they'll just about squeeze through. Japan, Sweden. This feels like a great game. I'm excited for this one. I think this could have goals. It could be tight, but I'm just going to edge towards Sweden by 1 goal. 2-1 to Sweden. Then Tunisia against Netherlands. This feels like a 3-0 against Tunisia. So 3-0 to Netherlands there against Tunisia. Then it's Turkey against United States. This feels a very tight one again. I think, though, this is going to be a Turkey victory. I think USA will fall here. Then Paraguay, Australia. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Australia. This feels like a realistic chance for the Socceroos to get a victory. Norway, France. That'll be a great game. Haaland against Mbappe. I think I'm going to go for a 2-1 France win. Then it's Senegal, Iraq. This feels like a comfortable 1-0 Senegal. I say comfortable. It will be probably a domination of Senegal possession, and then 1 goal will be enough. And then it's Egypt, Iran. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Egypt win in this one for Egypt. And then it's New Zealand, Belgium. I wonder about that one because that feels like a game that could have a few goals. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win for Belgium. Cape Verde, Saudi Arabia. Now, could Cape Verde get their first win at a World Cup, or will it be a high-scoring game against the Saudis? I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Cape Verde. They're going to find a way to get the job done. Then it's Uruguay, Spain. This feels like an exciting game. Feels like a sort of, ferocious battle. 2 teams locking horns. I'm going to go Uruguay 1, Spain 1. I think Spain will drop a couple of points in that game. Panama, England will be interesting. They beat them heavily in the World Cup 2018. Can they repeat that feat? I don't think so. I think this England side will get the win, though. Panama 0, England 3. Then it's Croatia against Ghana. I'm feeling a Croatia win, but Ghana are just that sort of side that can just about find a way. I'm going to go Croatia 3, Ghana 1. Algeria, Austria. I think Austria are just going to edge this one 1-0, but very, very tight, I think. Then it's Jordan, Argentina. I mean, the world champions against Jordan. I'm going to go for Jordan 0, Argentina 5. And then it's Colombia, Portugal. That'll be a tense game. That'll be an exciting game. I'll go for a 2-2 draw in that one. I think that'll be goals and drama galore. And then it's DR Congo against Uzbekistan. I think this is the time that DR Congo get a victory 2-1 against Uzbekistan. Okay, so those are the fixtures all put in for the group stage. I was hoping it would calculate the fixtures for the round of 16 and the round of 32, but it seems that it's basically not done that, which is a bit of a snag, but that's fine. We will talk through as we work that out, what we're predicting for top scorer and top assister. So this summer for the World Cup, we're going to predict some top scorers, top assisters, and the most clean sheets. Now, I don't know yet who I want or who I think will win the World Cup. So I'll come back to you on the top scorer prediction. Who do I think will get the most assists of the tournament? Now, Bruno Fernandes, of course, got the most assists for Manchester United in the Premier League this season. You've got Ryan Cherky, of course, at France. You've got the likes of Bukayo Saka in England. Potentially someone like a Gakpo in the Netherlands side. But I'm going to go for the top assister of the tournament to be the team that finish very high up. It is Brazil. And I'm going to go for Neymar. Yes, you heard it here first. I think Neymar will be the top assister in the tournament. And you might say, that's crazy. That's insane. He's not usually one to put it on for his teammates. I think this tournament will be different. So I'm just putting in the scores. As I put in the scores, feel free to pop your predictions down in the chat. As I said, it will be great to see everyone's predictions. And the other thing is as well, we've got our scoring system for these predictions this summer. So what the scoring system will be is I'm just checking. Sorry, Czech Republic game. What did we say for the South Africa match? We said a 2-1 win. Then Mexico, South Korea. We said, I'm just trying to look now and see. I'm going to find it somewhere. Mexico, South Korea is, where is it? Oh yeah, Mexico, South Korea was a 2-0 to Mexico. And then Czech Republic against Mexico, we went for a 2-1 win to Czech Republic. And then South Africa against South Korea, we ended up going for, what did we say? South Africa, South Korea. It was basically the two Souths against each other. We predicted a 1-0 win for South Africa. Okay. So that means that in Group A, the way I've predicted it this so far is the group finishes with Czech Republic topping Group A, which is interesting. Then Mexico in second on 6 points. So Czech Republic on 7, Mexico on 6, South Africa in third on 3 points, and South Korea or Korea Republic in fourth with 1 point. So that's Group A sorted. Group B, we'll just quickly put in some of the scores for that. Elsewhere, let's see what else people are saying in the chat. Canada failing to beat Qatar at home is crazy. I agree, Harry, but this is the World Cup. When we expect things, they don't always happen. Florian Wirtz for top scorer or top assister. Nice. I like it. Yeah, for Wirtz is definitely a decent shout because he loves to get assists. And this Germany side, they're definitely one to create a lot of chances and score a lot of goals. So the Canada against Bosnia game, I ended up going for what exactly? Let's have a look to see. I had predicted, I think it was a tight game, the Canada game against Bosnia, if I remember correctly. But let me just double check on that. Yeah, 2-1 to Canada was what I'd ended up going for. Qatar against Switzerland, we had predicted a 2-0 win for Switzerland. Switzerland against Bosnia, we had said, what had we said? Oh yeah, a 1-1 draw in that game. Canada against Qatar, I believe that was, what was that? Canada, Qatar, 1-1 draw as well. We had a few 1-1s in the group stage predictions, it seemed. Switzerland, Bosnia. Oh, no, sorry. Switzerland, Canada was our next one, which we were going to look for. And in that one, we said 2-0 to Switzerland. And then Bosnia against Qatar. What was we predicting for that one? I think we said, 3-1 to Bosnia in that one. So what does that do for Group B and how it finishes? Well, Switzerland topped the group with 7 points. Canada in second with 4 points, but a goal difference of -1. Now, Bosnia have finished here in third with 4 points also, but a goal difference of +1. So I'm not quite sure how Bosnia are in third over Canada when the goal difference is worse. That doesn't make too much sense. I don't know how that's worked, but hey ho. We'll just go with the flow there. I'm sure it knows what it's doing, but I'm not seeing things there, am I? -1 and +1, yeah. So okay, strange one. Obviously, Qatar finishing bottom of the group with 1 point. So if the Canada Bosnia thing is confusing at the end, you can just swap it around based on how you know the team finishing second in Group B would usually finish against the team who get knocked out in third. Now moving on to Group C, we've got Brazil against Morocco as one of the games, and I'm just trying to remember what I put for that. 2-1 was what we said in that one. Haiti, Scotland. I mean, if Scotland don't win that game against Haiti, there's going to be uproar. But I think I went 2-0 to Scotland. Scotland, Morocco. That feels like a really tough game for Scotland, to be fair. And I think I predicted it being so. Scotland, Morocco, I think we said, 3-1 win for Morocco. Brazil against Haiti. It'll be funny now. Knowing my luck, it'll probably be a 7-1 now that I mentioned that. But that just feels such a big mismatch. It's insane. But I went for a 4-0 to Brazil in that one. Scotland, Brazil. I think I ended up going for a 4-2 to Brazil. And then Morocco, Haiti. We said a 2-0 Morocco. So that's interesting. And so then how does that leave Group C? Well, it means Brazil topped the group on 9 points, with Morocco in second on 6, Scotland in third on 3, and Haiti fourth on 0 points. So now moving on to Group D, we have USA against Paraguay to kick things off. And I think I said USA to win. I did 1-0 for them. The host nation get the 3 points. Then Australia against Turkey, we went for a draw, I believe. 2-2 draw between those two. USA, Australia, I think we said a tight game in that one. 3-2 win to Australia. Turkey, Paraguay, we went for a 1-0 to Turkey. Turkey, USA, though, I believe was a bit more interesting. A USA defeat. So 2-1 to Turkey in that one. And then we also had 2-0 for Australia against Paraguay. So how does that leave Group D looking after the group stage? Well, Australia topped the group on goal difference, 7 points for them. Then second with 7 is Turkey, but with a slightly less goal difference of 2. Then third, USA with 3 points. And then fourth, Paraguay with 0 points. So, Australia topping Group D there. That's interesting. Looking back at the Germany game against Curacao, I think we ended up predicting about 3. It was 3-0 for Germany there. And then Ivory Coast against Ecuador. I'm pretty sure we said an Ivory Coast draw. Yeah, we did 1-1 in that game against Ecuador. The Germany-Ivory Coast game, I think, will be a really fun one to watch. But I think in the end, I ended up going for Germany just about. If I remember, 2-1 to Germany in that game. And then Ecuador against Curacao, we ended up going for 1-0 to Ecuador. I mean, if Curacao pull off only 1-0 against Ecuador, I think they'd be pretty happy with that as a nation. Ecuador, Germany, though, that will be a bit more tight and feisty, I think. We went for a 2-1 to Germany on that one. And then Curacao against Ivory Coast, I believe we went for a 2-0 to Ivory Coast. So how does that leave Group E finishing? Well, Germany topped the group on 9 points, maximum points from their 3 group games. Ivory Coast finishing on 4 points, but with a goal difference of +1. Ecuador miss out on goal difference. Very unlucky for them, with a goal difference of 0, but also on 4 points. And then in 4th, we have their Curacao. So some fascinating, scripts being developed here. Lots of drama and some tight matches. But in the end, not enough for Ecuador to get through. Okay, so that's Group E taken care of, with Ecuador and Curacao going out. Well, potentially going out. Depends on who finishes the highest in 3rd, I guess. In Group F, though, we had Netherlands against Japan to start things off. And I think we went for a Netherlands win in that game, because Japan is a tough game. Oh, no, we went for a draw, actually. Yeah, Japan, maybe I'm slightly overestimating Japan, but I just feel like they're going to cause a lot of countries issues at this year's World Cup. Even stuff like Belgium and Portugal failed to beat Mexico in recent friendlies, so I wouldn't give Czechia much of a chance. Yeah, that's fair enough. You did have all the teams on the groups at the screen at the beginning, not just the winners. Yeah, I did. That's the weird thing. So for some reason, Colm, I think it decided as I was putting the scores in to take out the teams from the group tables, as you can see. So I had to recalculate it, which is a bit of a pain. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. So Sweden against Tunisia was a 3-1 prediction for Sweden that we went for. Netherlands, Sweden, that feels like a great game. And now my page has decided to refresh, which is really, really frustrating for no reason whatsoever. It's just decided I'm going to refresh and forget the whole thing I've just done over the past time. That's just rude. Right. Well, let's see if we can somehow refresh this to calculate itself. But I don't really see why it would when it hadn't done that previously. Let's just double check to see whether it's going to decide to calculate those scores, but it just doesn't look like it will, which is a real pain. Okay, it's saying it's on a protected sheet, so that is not good news. Why is it protected? I don't want it to be protected. If it could maybe not do that, I'd really appreciate it. So why has it not put in all of my scores? So I was trying to work that out earlier, and now it's just simply not allowed it. So okay, you're massively underestimating Paraguay, who only conceded 7 goals in their 12 qualifiers. Fair play. They also beat Argentina and Brazil. Fair play. Fair play to them, but I don't expect them to do it in the World Cup. But you never know. I'm here to be proven wrong. So now that website has decided to reload and not work for me at all, I'm not sure what the solution is here, really, because there's a lot of games there, as you can see, and it's just not decided to calculate itself. So anyone with a great IT skills that knows how I sort this out would be massively appreciated. But hey ho. So those are those group stage predictions. If we just find a way to go into that, I'm not sure if this will actually work, but let's just go for it. Why not? Yeah, this doesn't actually take you anywhere, so that's all fine. So yeah, we're stuck on this at the moment, which is annoying, but I'm just thinking, is there a way I can get this sorted without it causing an issue? I don't think there is, unfortunately. So a bit of a snag that, but I just don't know why it's not calculated the scores and the future matches based on those scores, because it has the group winners, as you can see here: Brazil, Canada. Although Mexico didn't win the group when we calculated it, it was actually Czech Republic. So I don't know why they've only got one team there in those tables. Anyone in the chat know exactly what's gone wrong? Because I would be interested to know. Sorry about this, people. Not ideal, but it is what it is, I suppose. I'm just thinking, if there's a page of tables, who plays who, basically in the knockouts, because that way I could kind of work it out. because that way I can sort of predict it a little bit. So basically, based on those groups, I believe that the team facing first in Group E. So I think based on those predictions, that should be so Group E is the Germany's group. So surely that will be Germany. So I think, for instance, I just switch over to there and copy your scores from here, to be honest. I don't know what you mean by that. Switch over to there and copy your scores. I don't know what you mean. Because I've put in all the scores, but it's not it's just I want to do it quickly and it's not allowing me to do it quickly. So I wonder if there's a way I could copy and paste that. Maybe I could potentially. Yeah, I should be able to do this actually, I think. So bear with a second whilst I just figure this out. Sorry, people. Going back to what I was saying about with the top scorer and top assisters. I think Brazil will do well. Hence, I've got Neymar to finish top assister. But I need to work out the fixtures before I get to top scorer. So just bear with me, people. So I think because Germany topped the group, they would then end up playing. Who would they end up playing is the question. I'm not sure, to be honest. Yeah, that's the thing. I was on the World Cup calculator website. That's the thing, Harry. I was on it on my phone and I was putting it in, but then the website just decided to refresh, and so it lost all of the scores and all the previous tables. So I don't know if I've got the patience all the time to go back and do that again. So so basically the top 2 teams from each group go through, and then it's the 8 best third place teams. So I believe that means the fixtures would be in the round of 32. Czechia against Canada, I think, is one of them. So yeah, just listen to me when I say these scores. So who do I think is going to win out of Czech Republic and Canada? I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Czech Republic in that one. Then we've got Brazil against Japan. Oh, that feels like a great game, but I'm going to go for a 3-0 to Brazil. Then Germany, USA. I'll go 2-1 Germany. Morocco, Australia, 3-1 to Morocco. Ivory Coast, Norway, we'll say a 2-1 to Norway. France, Senegal, I'm going to go for a 3-1 to France. Mexico, Uzbekistan, let's say 2-0 Mexico. Hang on, no, Uzbekistan can't have got through. That's not right. Uzbekistan have definitely not got through. There's absolutely no way. I tried putting it through something to work out, but there's an absolute zero chance that Uzbekistan are through, because they would have finished third, wouldn't they? Oh, actually, maybe they were one of the best, third best. That's incredible. Okay, fair enough. Mexico to beat Uzbekistan, then all right, we'll say 3-1 Mexico instead. England against Bosnia, I'll go for a 2-0 to England. Belgium, South Africa, I'll go 1-0 Belgium. Then I'll say Turkey, Iran, 2-1 to Turkey. Spain, Algeria will go for a 3-1 to Spain. Colombia, Croatia, we'll say 2-0 to Croatia. Netherlands, Austria, 3-1 to Netherlands. Then Sweden, Paraguay, I'll go for 2-1 Sweden. 3-1 to Argentina against Uruguay. And finally, Portugal, Egypt, I'll go for a 2-0 to Portugal. Okay. So, okay, now tell me. So the matches once. So just to recap, I said Czech Republic. I said Brazil. I said Germany. I said Morocco. I think I said Morocco to beat Australia, didn't I? Yeah. If I didn't, I'm saying it now. Ivory Coast, Norway. I said Norway, just about, but very close. France, Senegal. We went for France. Mexico, we said next, and then England. We said Belgium against South Africa. So Belgium. We went for Turkey. We went for Spain. We went for Croatia to beat Colombia. We said Netherlands. We said Sweden. We said Argentina. And we said Portugal. So now it's the round of 16 games that we're going to predict based on all of those. So just trying to keep it in my head. So bear with me a second, guys. So now, I believe that hang on. So I said, yeah, those teams I've said go through. So I believe that would mean that the Group 1 winner in the round of 16 plays the Group 2 runners up. But then we already calculated it based on the Group 2 runners up in match 1 of the round of 32. No, because the round of the round of 16. Yeah, so the round of 16. I'm a bit confused now, but anyway, we'll go with it. I believe, yeah, no, I think I've done this right. This feels a bit dodgy, but hey ho. So I think it's Mexico against Morocco. I believe Mexico against Morocco. We'll go for a 2-0 win to Mexico. Then Brazil to beat Czech Republic 3-1. Germany to beat Turkey 2-1. Then Sweden, Netherlands. I'll go for a Sweden win 2-1 to Sweden. Spain, England. Oh, that's big. We'll go for Spain 2, England 3. Then Belgium, Croatia. I'm going to go for a 2-1 to Belgium. Then France, Portugal. Let's say 2-1 to France. And then Argentina, Norway. We're going to go 1-0. No, sorry, 2-0 to Argentina. So now it is the quarterfinals. So based on the teams I said, I had Mexico going through, I had Brazil going through, I had Germany going through, I had Sweden going through, I had England beating Spain, I had Belgium going through, I had France going through, and I had Argentina going through. Okay. So now the quarterfinal predictions. What are we saying for the quarterfinals? I'm going to say it's Mexico against Brazil. So therefore, we will predict a 2-1 win to Brazil. 2-1 win to Brazil in that one. And then Germany, Sweden. I'm going to go for a 3-1 to Germany. And then England, Belgium. Going to go for a 2-1 England. And then France, Argentina, repeat of the 2022 final. I'm going to go France 1, Argentina 0. So Argentina are gone. So that means that the semi-finals are the following. So it's Brazil, it is Germany, it is England, and it is France that have gone through. So the predictions for me to do in the semi-finals of the World Cup are the following. Brazil against Germany. I'm going to predict 2-1 to Brazil in the first semi-final. And then England against France. We're going to go for a 1-0 win to England. So that means the final is Brazil against England for the World Cup trophy. And who do I think is going to win the World Cup in 2026? I'm going to go for Brazil. It's going to be in the final, Brazil 2, England 1. So there it is. There we have it. Brazil is my winner of the World Cup 2026. Yet again, England are going to come this close to bringing it home, but it won't quite happen yet again under Thomas Tuchel. So that concludes my World Cup predictions. Brazil to take home the trophy, and the top scorer, I said my top assister, I think the top scorer is going to be Rafinha of Brazil. So both top scorer and top assister. And then most clean sheets, I actually think it's going to be England. It's going to be Jordan Pickford. I mean, I don't actually know, based on those scorelines, who the top clean sheet person will be. But basically, that one's a bit of an irrelevant one anyway. So there it is. There we have it. Our final predictions done. Let's hope that those workings out were bang on. If they weren't, then it will be somewhat close to that. But yeah, that's what we've predicted. Thanks for watching this one. I'm sorry about the technical issues. Should have been smoother than it was, but hey ho, that's the way it goes. So see you in the next one. Bye bye everyone, and don't forget to get your predictions in the chat below. See you next time. Bye bye.